We'll have to chair for the minutes. We chair for this chair. So we'll get live.
Recording in progress.
Thank you for everyone paid, by the way. Just a couple minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for patience. Technical difficulty. Planning matter. I'm going to call the meeting to order as we do not currently have a chair or vice chair present. It is 6 p.m. At that, I would ask the forum of the meeting commissioners if it could appoint a chair to for the meeting to begin with to have a chair, and it could be a majority motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. I guess appoint myself as secretary chair.
Fine. All right. Thanks so much, Commissioner Rodriguez.
All right, for those of you just turning on, I'm Rodriguez. I call the meeting to order. It's 6:06, meeting to order. So, staff, please call the roll.
Commissioner Dame Perez,
Present.
Commissioner Julio Rodriguez,
Present.
Commissioner Jim Balon.
Present.
For the record, Chair Carla Torres de Luna and Vice Chair Peter Hernandez are currently here.
Commissioner Steve Bloom, plead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this is the time anyone in the audience speak on any item not the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Speaker cards are available in the lobby and are to be completed given staff for speaking. When commission secretary calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name and city for the record. And please speak to the commission. If you're joining us by Zoom, please click on the bottom of your screen and raise your hand. If you're joining us by Zoom using cell phone, please press *9. Speaker will be limited to 2 minutes, a maximum of 30 minutes per subject. Please note the state will prohibit the commission from discussing or taking action on an item not on the agenda. Staff, that's it. Oh.
Miriam, do any speakers?
We don't have any speakers for this item.
Okay, consent agenda. Do we have any questions from the commission on items of consent agenda, or are there any items that the commission would to pull further discussion?
One from me.
Okay. Staff, do you have any public comments on items from the consent agenda?
Do not have public speak on this item either.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it looks like we are at agenda item 6.1, site architectural review, 2002-15 to construct a shell industrial warehouse of a 1,200 square foot, 400 foot and 600 square foot at 850 Airway Drive and 791 Aerosol. Can we have this report then?
Could we have a presentation, please?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Matt Gonzalez. I'm presenting Student Architectural Review 2024-4. Applicant is Troy Fink with Sonia Incorporated. Thank you. The project is located at 1850 Roy Drive and 1791 Area Star, the Industrial Business Park Zoning District. It is most surrounded by vacant properties, although there are some developed properties. As you can see on the map, there's a San County Jail, Juvenile Hall, and stadium, some are vacant. The applicant is requesting approval of site architect review to construct 3 shell warehouses with various sizes. One is 16,000 square feet, 14,000 square feet, and 12,000 square feet respectively. 105 park spaces, 688 park spaces, 2 loading spaces, 1 bicycle space, and landscaping. Hours of operation for the warehouse are not established since we do not have tenants identified yet. However, the condition of approval, they will require some administrative permit review so we can ensure that the use proposed is adequate for this project. Slide, please. This is a site plan showing that it's both accessible via Aerostar and Aerostar Area Drive. It provides adequate parking. It shows location of the living zones on the buildings as well. It will have 35-foot landscaping on both street sides as well. Next slide. And here are the elevation of the warehouses. They will all have this color scheme and design. This is the site in the street on Air Drive. Next slide, please. And roast. Next slide, please. The project has been analyzed and it is compliant with the general plan and the zoning district. It requires an architect review application to review for the construction necessary. Next, please. The project also acts from the guidelines subject to section 1432 class 2, which is infill development project. Next, please. The planning commission can choose one of the following options. The first one is to adopt a resolution approving SNA 2022-14, subject to the finding condition contained in the draft solution. Option number 2 is to adopt a resolution approving SNA 22-14, findings or conditions to modify the planning commission. Option 3 is to deny the project, or option number 4 to continue the hearing direct after provide additional information. Staff recommend option number. And that concludes the presentation. Available questions.
Thank you. Do you have any questions from the commission?
I do not.
I just have one question. Who would be, I know we're lead agent. What agencies, no agencies were notified of all this decision? Not
Yeah.
decision, but
All projects are sent to the DRC, Development Review Committee, which consists of building, engineering, public works, utility. Yeah, there's a number of different agencies that review the
okay.
project.
The question or concern that was just, I do see, I guess I want the record to reflect that my only observation I do see really close to the San Diego County Jail. I didn't know if there were any other outside agency comment or.
We did not receive any. We did notifications, but we didn't receive any feedback.
And that was just okay. I will open up to public comment. 616.
We do not have any public comments at this time.
The applicant here, they wish
Yes.
to say a few words.
Yes, he is here,
Okay.
I think.
Do you wish to say words?
If
You could come to the podium. That way I could.
For the record, the applicant is Joy of.
Hi, yes, my name is Trank. I would just hope you guys are your way to approve the project. It was initially permitted back in 2008 and put on hold due to economic reasons. It's just basically bringing it back with reapproval and hopefully some development go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I just had one final question.
Yes.
On the color scheme, was the color was blue? That thing because like the emblem, or is that kind of different?
It's like a turquoise, blue.
Okay, not just
Oh.
colors. Okay. Have any public comments items? So I'll go ahead and close public comment at 17. Do I have a motion?
On the motion, adopt resolution SSNA 2022-14.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Okay, 7.1, review proposed phase 3 zone ordinance amendment language of City of Hollister zoning ordinance. Do we have staff report, please?
Can we have that? Right.
Good evening. This is the fourth final study session for Phase 3, which is vision of the permitting sense of the zone ordinance for bulk permits, Chapter 17.2. Tonight, we have several we're going to go over tonight, and I'll go over each in detail, but we have quite a few to finish out Phase 3. Chapter 17.02 is obviously not in the rest of our meeting section. This chapter with zoning ordinance right now does include some procedures. Some of them are proposed to remove and put in appropriate section of the zoning ordinance, such as new zoning ordinance amendment chapter procedure that is 702. No significant changes are proposed. Most of what is there now got relocated to most appropriately belong, or we've did to get better with this chapter. Chapter 7.03 is a new chapter. I pulled out the information regarding the zone district as well as the role of the zoning map from 7.02 into it's a chapter so that they're together in location. This chapter, though, is different in the sense that with the housing element update and the general plan update, our zoning categories we modified slightly. The dense changes, and those changes are now reflected in the draft that you have for you. Mirrors what we have a housing element general plan that you will hopefully be looking at next month. Section 16.4480 is new. This section is currently located within zoning ordinance, but it relates lot line adjustments. Lot line adjustments are regulated under the subdivision back, and so we are proposing to get out of zoning ordinance and place it into the subdivision ordinance so that it is consistent with our other requirements for 10 apps and mass. Minor adjustments are recommended for this chapter right now. It says that lot line adjustments are reviewed by community development director and directable to apply with a plan department. Those are actually applied for from the building division, or from the engineering division, and the city engineer reviews them. So correct that language to comply with current practices. Chapter 17.98 sign permits, and this is a new chapter for zoning ordinance. Currently, right now, the requirements of sign permit can be found in the sign ordinance, but are skipped throughout as the different sign types are. It's a little confusing. Along with our goal, which to make everything easy to understand and to determine what type of permit you need, we created a sign chapter that goes over the permits, different types of sign permits the city requires, as well as what procedures are. So clearly, right now, the types of signs that require permit are temporary banners, down A-frame signs, wall, pedestrian signs, creative signs, master sign plan, and monument sign. And we're not changing any of that in the sense that we're not adding any permit type requiring additional regulations for signs. We are, however, recommending that the monument sign requirement changed. So right now, any monument sign, regardless of height, requires planning commission review. So it tends to the process take a little bit longer. I think you call just took one for pole service, and it's a wall sign that had a 5-foot monument sign, and so they require planning commission review. So staff is recommending that we get a little easier on businesses in the sense that if the monument sign is less than 6 feet, they just require staff level review, and then it go over 6 feet, they require planning commission review to sign them to have a visual impact in the low monument signs. There we go. Chapter 7.102 is the variance chapter. Variances are a permit that's to ensure that a property owner whose property is different from the property in the area is able to develop their property similar to property owners in the area. So an example would be I have a very irregularly shaped lot with a high angle in area. To require a 20-foot setback may be an imposition on them due to that lot, and so variance could be requested to change the setback to allow them to add on their house or whatever they want to do to the on half have a large back. Variances, though, only granted structure, they are not granted for uses. The requirements for variance do out of the government code, so to the relation are rooted in state law. With this chapter, we're not proposing any significant changes. It's just to clean up, make language a little bit easier to understand. Of course, put in our this is how you permit requirements, and we expected to ensure that it was consistent with requirements of the government code. And for variances, the planning commission is reviewing briefs. Chapter 17.04 is also a new chapter. This relates to ministerial review. And city is required to have ministerial review, which means that it is staff level project. There's little review we have on the project. They have to conform to specific requirements, such as if the objective design standards are adopted, they have to conform to that, as well as obviously the development standards in this book. But states require that there are several projects that are to be considered ministerial review, and the projects are things such as support services, including emergency shelters and low barrier navigation centers, SB4, which is 100% affordable project on lands owned by religious or educational institution. AB2 2011, which is 100% affordable residential developments on commercial land, which meets the requirements of the bill. AB 2162, which is support housing in multifamily mixed-use zoning districts, restricted to low-income households, and there are specific requirements to be eligible for that. For all these, there are very specific requirements within the law on how they actually do apply or are eligible for these. There's also AB 35, which is an infill project that at least 2% units dedicated to low income, and it requires prevailing wage component. SBC 84, which is a small infill residential subdivision of 10 or fewer dwelling units. And then also residential projects which restrict 20% of the units to low-income households and are non-vacant sites identified as a housing opportunity in housing element, or have been included in opportunity site for at least 2 housing elements. This chapter has been designed to conform to the law. We've listed out the projects that are eligible as of today so that it's easier for staff and the public to understand projects requirement of still review, and then the procedure and review procedures in the code is from state law. Chapter 17.11 is also a new one. It is reasonable accommodations. City required to provide reasonable accommodations for eligible individuals. It comes out of federal and state housing laws. And reasonable accommodation is an application to the required development standards, land use, building regulation to ensure that individuals with disability have equal access to housing. An example might be if the height limit and light limit preclude the elevator shaft at the top building, they could request a reasonable accommodation to allow for an elevator if it was necessary. This does not currently have a reasonable accommodation ordinance, so this new again, and this would be reviewed by community development director for reasonable accommodation. They would apply first for that, and then there was a companion, let's say, architectural review. Once the reasonable accommodation was viewed, they would then apply for the site architectural review. So the first part is done at level. Chapter 17.11 enforcement, again, is just there's no significant changes, but it's the force of requirements zoning ones. So the next step. And change that you've listed today, we'll incorporate them into draft chapters. Any additional modifications that are necessary because of housing element, we'll incorporate them to any priors that you've looked at. There are a few that need to be done to address some. And then we will bring this back to the Planning Commission next month for review during public hearing. The procedure chapter need to follow along with the zoning ordinance, with housing element and general plan, because it also codifies goal of the housing element. And the procedures are the action items in the housing element, as well as obviously the changes to zoning districts, which are included with that 1703 that I discussed earlier. So public hearing will be marked, and then a full recommendation, and then to council on that. We'll follow the housing in general. It's now to it. That concludes my presentation. We have answered questions you have.
Thank you. Do we have questions of the commission?
I just had a question. If a sign is denied during the material review, what recourse those tokens have?
So if an applicant comes in and applies for, let's say, a wall sign, or even a monument, if this is approved at staff level, if the director was to deny it, an appeal, so they wouldn't appeal to you for any sign.
Would they pay the appeal?
They'll have to pay appeal, but it's like $200.
No, right now the fee is same for an applicant or a community member to appeal. So I want to appeal to the Planning Commission $3,500 as listed by the council, and an appeal a planning commission decision is about $4,000 because it includes some additional public noticing requirements. Like that. Yes, the adopted fee they pay.
I saw this fee. I think I'm going to just add on. I think I would like to be recourse for the applicant. They have a 7-foot sign right over the threshold gets denied. Is there a way or something? The applicant pays us, and we say, "Oh, we'll just assign 6 feet." What are the? I don't think you're trying to. You kind of what I'm.
I see what you're saying. So the application fee right now, all monuments, is quite large because the applicant is covering staff's time to write a staff report, resolution, attend meeting, make a presentation, prepare a presentation. So those fees are high. A staff fee is way lower than that. So even if they were to appeal it, it's still you're stalling with the range of it just went to in the first place, if that makes sense.
No, I meant more like So what we're code is suggesting if it's below, if it's 6 feet or under, it's staff review, no cost.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about, this has been before. The applicant has a 6.5-foot sign. He goes the whole process. Is kind of some initiative mechanism that would kind of prompt us to be like, hey, you know what? If we did a 6-foot sign instead of a 6.5.
Yeah, I completely understand. What we are supposed to counter with this change is I'm going to double check your plans and make sure it is in fact 6 feet, because if telling me it's feet, you can get level review, look at your plans at 15 feet, I don't waste your time, right? I'm going to let you know right then, that's not perfect for you. This is. Now, pretend they somehow get in as they're 6 feet 4 inches, the recommendation is going to be take 4 inches off, and then you'll be fine. We're not going to say denied.
Okay.
We rather work with anyone to get them to a point of being approved.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other.
Yeah, it's standard. So for any project, let's say I'm looking at an industrial building and we have a requirement of trees, how many to have in the parking lot. I'm not gonna go to you and recommend deny. That's because tree, that's a waste of my time, the applicant's time. We're gonna work with them we always work them to get them to the place where we say this project is, we want to, it's every act of our code. That's always our goal.
Oh, just a point of clarification for myself. So inside below 6 feet, staff would review it, correct? And make a decision anything above 6 feet. So you had said that the cost, anything of 6 feet, the substantial cost because of all the process. Is fees going to be different moving forward?
So the monument sign over 6 feet would stay a fee that we have right now, and then the other sign is the lower cost, like the administrative permit review sign fee, which is
I think it's like $170. Yeah, so right now we are proposing fees change, but things in place in our application procedures as a commission will recall from our early study since we're talking about, new 3-year site and architectural review, and right now the fee not for a 3-tiered architectural review or minor conditional use permit. So a follow project would be to address our fees to redress our new project, and so we're proposing a lot of reduction in level of view. Would want to pose significant reduction in these fees, no longer need to come all the way to a public hearing. But with this new proposal, we would have only the tallest sign need to go to the current process, which come to you, and it's not the POE. Just to clarify, that I believe it's $1,400 for freestanding monument and architectural, like the Eric mentioned, polar services you saw months ago. That was not POE, that just the application came to you. Instead of having to pay $400 for a 6-foot sign, 5-foot sign, which you would have to do today, that would be something that could be done at staff level or a much quicker turnaround, no hearing, all those things. So change would be to add a new tier, if you will, of freestanding signs that can be done more slowly.
I think we're calling commission review for service. It added a month and a half on their review time, and that line was $5.
Oh, yeah. And I think also one thing I don't know if I suggest this, if this outside the purview of this discussion is maybe because this is a big issue from other, talk to other businesses, since it's been a major issue of tension. Perhaps like what you, maybe thinking like a image or something kind of convey this issue. And I guess I don't know if that's, like I said, outside the purview of this discussion, but I think a photo or something that would kind of like give an example, like so someone could look at it.
We discussed this along with permitting chapters. We're going to have new application forms and information available to the public. Really helps them apply for a permit, understand what requires a permit, understand how to get the process. And then with signs get in our next phase, which is the rest of the zoning, and signs will be after that. So we will look at all those regulations and see what you would like to with the signs.
Okay.
But the goal of this phase and future phases is make the zoning easier to read, to remove barriers for certain projects, types of improvements, and to make it easier on both staff and the public and members, applicants.
Yeah, it's to address, as we keep so many chapters and putting in the regulations, we can put bigger into signs, definitely, so we can do that. I don't know if it makes sense, the commission wants to look at it in this particular chapter, or if you think it might be worse in the regulation chapter, we can definitely want to include more figures and concepts in the code that we update.
I don't know I let that to your professional opinion. I definitely would like a figure, something to basically sum up what we're saying.
Yeah, for sure.
You can put wherever you like, but that's my recommendation.
Yeah, we're going to make it easier. We've already started working, for example, temporary banner application forms. So you're a business owner, you're a first-time applicant, what are the rules? And it's on there to make it easier for them to apply.
Okay.
Are amendments the ones that could go either plan commission or ministerial?
That's the only change we're recommending. Temporary banners are typically up at the counter. Sometimes they may require a year or two if we're unsure how many permits pull a year. Wall signs, which is the most consistent sign we see, typically are reviewed 7 to 14 days. It kind of depends on the complexity of the line, to be honest with you. And then those are the staff permits that we're currently looking at. The things that you would still see, the master sign plan, that's the rules for ushering sale at Carriage Plaza looked at a couple months ago. And that would still with you. Create a sign, which has its own regulations, how you call for creative sign, that planning commission, but you're trying to do something that's not by the and monument sign would be the only we're changing, and it's just I'll step to get some lower monument signs.
What's the number of creative?
We've not had one, but in my mind, creative sign might be, let's say I open a 1950s style dinner and I want a cool 1950s pro sign and our code doesn't allow it. It would come to you and say, look, this is the design of my building and I have something that goes with the concept of my building. And you say, well, that looks like a very nice sign. I really like it. They'd apply for creative sign where it's ordinary allowed by code. But we haven't had a request in.
Yeah, I've never seen one applied in specifically creative sign. We've seen some signs come through with master sign programs where they did change to regulations allowed strict in the ordinance, but it came along with probably standing one sign or something like that, and it's not been just a creative sign. But it'd be kind of ability to get an exception because we have, like Eric was mentioning, sort of unique concept just to fit in the box of us, the code outlines.
Can you go back to inform?
This thing fell asleep. Uh-oh. That one. It'll take it. Yeah, it fell asleep real fast.
So this needs change here, right? Like,
No significant changes are proposed here. It's mostly a language.
Okay.
This is not code enforcement. Code enforcement is by another chapter. This is enforcement of zoning ordinance.
Let's see. Go ahead and open it to public comment.
As we have a speaker card, we have Peter.
Hi, my name is Speedo from San Diego. I have prepared a speech. I'm kind of shocked, but I've just and everyone's glossed over. So I'm trying to go through this quickly. Hope you'll get to some today with. A commercial developer had been working with the city Hollister on a proposed project and district use last summer. Since that time, the city held session meetings regarding plan update. Had an element code updates and at the time, I've been given direct notice regarding any of these hearings or report agendas prior to the meeting. I've already required adjustments middle once because code prevented proposed commercial project from meeting. And each mice over to work 20 to consult in coordination with it. I have real to be here. I'm here to ask help so I can slightly concede without having to do it to third. From my commercial development perspective, the updates, including what you're looking at tonight, general plan and the housing element are being driven by the same unilateral desire to promote residential development. There have been will be negative impacts on commercial development, a lot of economic development, job growth, and services to the community. I can give an example of how desirable tenants committed sites in your city determined based on feedback of the city before anything can even go before the commission. I believe staff should include in their staff report a summary of projects that are pending that killed because of which I didn't see today. I request announcement and direct and begin projects like mine based on the current voting. The changes that you are in here to the study session would stop. Specifically, section 17.203 formerly required. So I have a bean project, and I've submitted an application. Based on the ads before, the code would be updated in the following day project, and would need to start over. And what would be a site plan review, made CUP, would have to go for general plan and zoning. That's 9 months. Request paragraph and be crafted, the pen application can be proceed so long staff the application within 12 months. So you're putting a sunset provision there. This will allow time for responses back and forth, submittals necessary and appeal, and the ayes can be read by the mission. Same goes item E4, which is a vest tentative, which I also said. I can all through the process. You guys approve this. If you didn't, you'd have to all the way. I apologize. I've got people texting me and reading offline. And I understand this is the third or fourth. Some things that post are incorrect. I'm not here looking for consistency, but I cannot tell you the correspondence coming back is killing the project. And we had an approvable project that should have been before you. We had a code update when you changed the mix designation to stop.
Can we give him 3 minutes?
So we had an approvable project and was given direction. You have to understand, I'm working with that tenant. I can appreciate the project that was presented to you guys today. Package that's submitted to the city, cost $100,000 between those ends. With the consultants. This is a very sophisticated group of people that's working with Fortune 500 companies. You have additional Fortune 500 companies who are in a way come to the town or are going to wait for other things to happen because they're told they can come in and that they will not support the project because of housing. So I don't know what to do. I am shocked because you guys know the projects are going to be killed. Probably just fine because we can do a very weird, odd category of this mixed-use designation. You're not here to look at one particular project. I have no idea how long I'm going to take to get here, but if you don't direct to staff to allow projects to proceed, which is standard and happen in other communities, then projects like mine have to start over, which we'll do. It's another $1,000. Just the team you guys were talking about your assignment, it was $1,000 just print the answers. You guys have backlog into meeting. We had to have somebody sit here from in the morning and 2:30 in the afternoon, and we're going to have to reset and we have to remit, and that's part of the process. But if you don't direct staff to do something, won't do it, the projects die, and you don't project. And I can't get form with anybody, we just aren't here. So you ask me questions. I'm getting feedback from tenants, getting feedback from my consultants. We didn't know about the hearing. We had no idea this was in here. We did about the session. I happened to be in the area, so I drove over here, not expecting to be present tonight, and I am shocked. So I can answer any questions you have, in any project specific, but I can tell you that you have an opportunity to improve with the study session to promote development for a certain period of time. It isn't infinite. If you have pending application, even if not deemed complete, you allow it to run its course. So, as an example, project we have, 30 jobs, $8 million improvement, $1 million off-site improvements, go away because we keep hitting the wall. We don't know.
Am I allowed to ask questions?
The commitment's not, but you could, when I'm back, I could ask have we yeah, there's
Court to have any limits on it and have any limits in it. I mean, we've exploited for this stuff. It's a process. But if they want to go through even to meet that, it's totally allowed. So however you want to handle it, or you can get a dialogue. So.
Oh, well, I'll go ahead and reconvene with staff, and we'll. I just have clarification. Is that accurate? from your understanding, is when we happen, mechanism happen, they have to resubmit. That's my understanding.
I'm not 100% sure which project is. So in this instance, the bulk of the language that we are changing is really distinct law. So some of the language, like the ministerial review, didn't have reasonable accommodations, et cetera, et cetera. This permitting section, the only person I think of is if someone's already applied for monuments and they get caught up in it, like they could have been staff level. But we are literally just, for the most part, looking at permitting procedures. 1703 is drafted to match the density within the housing element, because that outlines our zoning category, or zoning bricks. There is nothing in here that is raising a property, change the text of residential, commercial use chapters, or any, say, development standards, or any other standards with the zoning. Okay. It's how do you process permits? And most language is the same. And what are the density changes from housing?
Oh.
Yes, and if I chair, Richards, I did pull up the section that referenced the speaker, because we are not proposing a change, but that's the purpose of study session. Speaker mentioned adding a sunset or extending, and when the complaint effective date goes in, and that is definitely something we could, if commission wanted to propose something, we can make a change and propose that to council. So that is open. It's currently the same as it is now in the ordinance, but this is going to be a draft. It is 702, so attached for 702, and section 170230E1, which is attachment 7, and page, I don't have page number 3, I think. So essentially, section is for, if what is adopted, it'll come to effect 30 days after the council adopts it, and section E says how the code applies to projects that are in the process the speaker's talked about. So first, section 1, project pending applications. We've talked in the past about police, which is that 30 review against checklist. So that's what the proposal is. All land use permit division applications that have been determined by the development department to be complete before the effective date of this ordinance would be process compliance with ordinance that were in effect when it's complete. But it could be, the commission might want to just, we can talk about what your recommendation would be to say any project that's pending on the date that comes into effect. So again, 30 days after it's adopted, and then 6 months or 3 months or whatever it might be, and that's that it's to be complete by. That is the thing we put in the ordinance. So
you're saying we were just approved without being sunset provision. And I'm asking, you're saying you probably have to resubmit all over.
I'm not closing these types of, this is a study session. It's not, you're not approving anything, but approve something in that project that we know, and then restart. So I'm working on the mixed project that we had alone, which will happen. City requirement all makes testing. I have national tenants that don't house part of their parents. We go back and have it, which is crazy. We did. So in a month, because you don't see that type of sound. We didn't know that makes language being adopted, so it takes months to back and forth. Fortune Thunder companies true there's come back. We were ready to submit all this, and it didn't happen. Here in Apple's plan, you're going to do your plan update. Not supporting. Right now, we're allowed, right? That's the thing. So we're sitting based on the current code. And so we adopt based on last code update, yes. If this goes through, it ends up being a project like mine. And I don't know how many projects you have that will eventually stop. Typically, I would have expected that to be in the app report. Mine might be the only project. It's probably one that you guys want to see the most. Okay. And I think that it's a service that aren't evaluating it. I don't know if the council's evaluating it. Typically, when these are happening, I brought it to the city. So there's a development review to see what the impact is. I'm in Hollister because tenants might be here. I don't have a relationship with it. So I'm not being asked to participate in that. But this is, again, not the first time. So you don't spend an hour going through this. The signs are huge and important. We can put a sign deal. It's 5 feet, so we're going to put all this stuff to do with that. I think that this stuff wasn't just to me is by far the most active. And I mean, it's very hard.
Okay, thank you.
I think what he's referring to mostly housing element general land. That's those bird changes are coming, get the housing element verified, et cetera, but that's not within this section not. This permitting section right now, they're looking at, doesn't have anything to do with housing, with exception of ministerial review information, the real accommodations, that kind of stuff. It's not changing anything within those districts. I'm not having, if you are mixed use, will be, 100% residential and then get 5% commercial. None of that's happening with this. It is just how are we processing products. The second we talk about conformity to the zoning ordinance, that's in the now.
Okay.
And usually announcements are made to projects that are pending and continue. And I'm not concerned, housing element in and of itself is probably most impactful and probably not for me. However, general plan updates have issues, but this allows you flexibility to allow this to continue. And obviously, I wasn't expected to do this. I've had different people here helping and give me more information. But the request is you just make all this and you don't want to go in forever. Like project for 2008.
So, sir, I understand. I have to the meeting. I appreciate. I want Gus. But I have to go on. I like the picture of. I do know that there's a lot of strain out there because there was general plan. Then there was the referendum on general plans. It's also adding to the confusion, correct?
Yeah, I think especially with any housing element, and then we generally at the same time, there's a lot of changes that happen. That function flips to the next meeting, unfortunately, whereas tonight, like how are we processing projects? Do we want to see moving forward as like how effective are we? We reword how we process projects.
But I would like to put sunset on what the recommended. Secondly, I think important. Does staff know going next meeting the city? So does staff know how many projects are impacted by the code or state law? I mean, like
I don't have that number. We could look into it. Is also going to be subject to change, right? You know, a timeline. Things could submit and be complete with and from between now and the code comes into effect. And they not affected.
Does anybody in the planning department know?
Could look at it.
I do not believe we have any project in the last 2 months.
I can think of
There's one current.
that are incomplete. Yeah, we could look into it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's the only. If I correct how much project he is, I'm pretty sure he's the only.
Okay. And like I said, I'm not trying to belabor the point. There's a general plan. There's people submitting things with certain expectations. I get that. I do think it's important that, because this is a study, we approve this. I mean, it still has to go to the council, correct?
It's still a
It
council.
has to cut before you actually first. And so what I would be for the goal tonight would be to get your feedback. And I don't think the commission has the ability to pull up 170230E. And this is really a section that we're kind of talking about of when do these new procedures apply to things that can vary to the project. We're talking about pending applications that are complete, but this section also talks about projects that are approved that are under construction, subdivisions that are approved but aren't recorded, and we talk about how and when the new procedures and new chapters affect those projects, when they get to apply the rules they're currently under, when do they not. So right now is drafted the same way the current ordinance is, which was adopted. They're complete. Then can do, the environmental review. They still come to point and we review them against the code now, not the code. But we would look for the planations back on if we want to post an extension of that. And then what we do, we'd redraft the section of the chapter with your changes and would be the spring planning action next month is the recommendation of the council. But this is something that is not based in law, based in what city wants to, when we want to apply this ordinance to projects that might be in the process in the transition.
In the past, we requested updates on projects and grant to like within the review to information. That's why we have a meeting next month with the council. Would you be able to add an index to all the work that you've done these studies? So applicants who would be affected by any of the changes. This is mostly a formatting of the of the information.
So if you didn't adopt these at all, like we hit in the past, the exist section that still requires that conformity is still in the zoning ordinance.
So that next one has any of this item we covered in the study session, any of them enforced impact that exists project. Or that's just reinforced because of the law or something like that?
Most changes are state law. So they're the anyways we follow. It's, for example, material review, all those things I listed, state law tells me how I have process types of projects, and we just do it anyways.
So the items be enforced or followed before we approve all the changes that are being cut.
We're just codifying to make it easier for staff in the public to see this is what requires us to review, this is how you. The reasonable accommodations we're required to do it anyways. It's just establishing a procedure and regulate the manner by which you could apply for it. Again, they're just permitting sections, right? Like how do you process these types of projects? I am not rezoning a property, and I am not doing anything else as part of this. Now, other things will come there. There are things in the housing element require changes to zoning ordinance, but that's in housing element, we're going to be required to follow it if we adopt it.
Sounds like the vision that will affect the possible project or applicants is to be what they meant.
This project, the housing element, I'm pretty sure that he's referring to, what you're going to get next.
I would just like us to set provision on what's impacting projects.
We can look into how many, at least in estimates, we won't know exactly when the ordinance is adopted and placed in, but we can definitely look into and bring back at least a number of locations that are potentially in the ballpark being affected by these process changes. But for purpose of sunset, I would, instead of it being complete before the effective date, my suggestion to the committee would be to less complete no more than, or deemed complete, like 60 days after 90 and 80. Or I don't know that recommend year, but it would be your recommended per year. I would like, what is, how long after the ordinance is into effect would mission like to have that kind of transition period, if that makes sense? And like we're looking for your feedback on how long of a sunset you asked to put into this.
And then if Project Peru, they're not affected by this.
Correct.
It would just be projects that are incomplete, like in the review with staff, I submittal less 30 days, we had it. And or we had once and we sent back comments. So the projects, when let's say it gets updated on April 20th and comes out on May 20th, and project that incomplete on May 20th right now would follow the new procedure, but could make it 60 days after May 20th or 90 or 80, where your suggest might be we put in the ordinance. That thing we can.
I think it'll be good to review the chapter mentioning, as far as to get our example. But the meeting next month is going to be important joint meeting that we have. Would it be possible to invite any applicants of any of those applications, whether it's denied or approved? Would you be able to send an invite for that session, or is it?
I can send in, yeah.
And no, I think we can.
Absolutely. Even side projects too. Like you said, I like side.
I think we
Yeah.
don't even need to know. There's one, and it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
It didn't meet for code.
I mean, the 12th to 26th are both, what,
I think in one of the meetings, I mean, they can decide.
is there a recommendation for change from the compound? For how
So,
long?
make sure I understand. We have, even if it's a law enforcement, what else do we have by like the next time period?
You have that not a law.
Yeah,
but
this
it's
is a
perfect-
proposal for our
yeah.
ordinance,
Yeah.
and we want our ordinance to be effective.
In the now, if the code changes, we'll automatically have to follow it. So we kept the same. But if you want to give people 60 days or 90 days to complete, because the key trigger is 9 days. Looking at all of our project, and each of the projects are complete, so it's no different for them. Except for the conditional use for alcohol, and that would be affected anyways.
Is it possible to get exempt from surrounding jurisdictions with sun's language?
Okay.
If you don't want to make a recommendation tonight, we can, as part of that report for March, we could have a recommendation and let know who in our surrounding area has incentive. I'm aware of anyone, but I'm sure there is.
I'm not real comfortable making any drastic recommendation changes. I'm interested in doing something with a set day, but either way, this is just a study session. Everything. So, but just for the audience, for anyone in the room, when is the planning commission / city council meeting again?
There's a March 12th. Again, I don't know if it's a workshop, study session, but there will be a joint meeting, workshop, town hall, session of kind on March 12th, but it's not out this ordinance. So,
Correct. But I just want record off the audience. So March 12th, there's going to be a meeting that'll encompass the entire plan process. And I think for those who want interest in that, that would be very effective.
And just so you know, this completed section, so phase 3, you would be reviewing it to public hearing, and we'll discuss that we are meeting in March, and then there follow to the council, and you can correct me if I'm right.
yeah. So staff's intent is to revise the drafts based on your feedback to bring a formal ordinance to adopt at the March 26th meeting.
And because it's an ordinance, it's 8/20 is the first reading, then we go to a subsequent meeting, second reading, and then 30 after that takes effect.
Okay. And then
So have at least 30, 60, 90 days plus 100 days before
our
it's
next,
effective.
our next planning commission meeting is the 26th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that meeting is the 17th?
12th.
The 12th. Okay. So,
So I think what we'd do is we could look into some of our neighboring jurisdictions to see if they have any enforcement language they were suggesting a longer time frame. And then we can bring that back of what we found, and then have draft ordinance for the
Yes.
change.
Yeah, we'll have
Or some kind of visit, or probably something like
And
60 days,
there-
90
yeah, give
days.
everyone 30 days, we'll point it out.
Yes.
The
along with the impact report, the thing that you said,
Yeah.
the
we can-
projects that are in the
Yeah.
queue that
Yes.
are
Yes, two
incomplete.
things.
list projects and invite them to study session as well.
Yeah.
There'll be a public hearing, and then you'll have the housing element general plan. That is more of the avenue if they are interested.
Yeah.
Not so sure about the time frame as far as the sunset. I know we can direct staff when we put a just impact in an applicant one or another that should be noted and not received of that, and then determine whether time from that. So it's just define applicants are going to be affected by future adoptions of changes. I think would be a step I'd like to be added.
Yeah,
to
we
the
can do that.
document.
It's this, we didn't change anything that's going to wrap anyone up in it.
Yeah,
Of the
and the
person.
impact, study that you analysis, if you separate was impacted by state law or by local,
Yeah.
ordinance, that would determine like a sunset time.
And we do have a web page on the city's website dedicated to the zoning ordinance updates that we're doing. It goes over phases. And Amber is doing it to include all the ones that were approved. People can what we approved in the past. And it's there for anyone that wants to follow along if they want to, because the next phase is the best phase. Once we get the housing on general plan, it's the rest of zoning. So it. And anyone can always request notified if you want to email planning, call planning, say they'd like notified of upcoming planning committee meetings, welcome to the list. So there's any avenues to be informed.
We don't need a motion, I think, correct? Okay.
No direction, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to close, unless there's any other comments, 7.2. We move on to planning commission reports.
There, I guess that's 7.1, so we actually need to move 7.2.
My apologies. 7.2, review proposed object 9 stands.
We'll try to make it quick. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Amber Moran, I'm a senior planner with City of Hollister. The I-40 tonight, the City of Hollister has been working on finalizing a set of objective design standards for our downtown multifamily mixed products. This is funded through REAP 2.0 grant. Standards bond recent state housing laws that require cities to streamline objective measurable criteria when reviewing qualifying housing projects. The purpose of tonight's study session is to give the Commission the opportunity to review the document and provide direction on how to refine standards before they're officially adopted. Some key questions that we ask that the Commission consider are covering the design topic that are most important to us, the city. There's some that's missing. Some of the standards detailed, maybe they're not detailed enough. Are there areas that need more clarity, consistency? Maybe they need to be more useful or could be improved in some other aspect. We're also asking that you have feedback on the overall approach, again, to some of the local goals for the downtown. So how do we want it to look? How do we want it to feel? How do we want people to experience the downtown when they're in it? The city, its consensus works, will be incorporating the committee's feedback in the final document. After the meeting, the team will revise the draft document based on the Commission's feedback and any feedback here from the public this evening. We'll also incorporate graphics, figures, imagery into the final version, and we will be bringing back the finalized version before the Planning Commission for recommendation to the City Council at our next meeting, which will be March 26th. There is a presentation tonight. That presentation will be given by Associate Principal with this work, Greg Fella. His presentation will go over an explanation of the state's legislative framework, driving the need for the objective design standard. We'll be reviewing policy procedures that help place and shape how the objective design standard function and why important. We'll also summarize the key themes and comments that we received from March 13th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting, highlight community engagement completed to the date, and show public commission feedback have informed the current draft standards. And with that, I'll turn it over to Greg Goodlow.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thanks for having me. As Amber said, the multifamily and mixed objective design standards. I've been working close with planning staff here, Amber, Ava, Erica, and Zisha in my office. And I'm actually, it's a good time for the discussion that just followed because there were key points in that discussion that really came to the one of the state law, another is ministerial review, and another that Commissioner Rodriguez brought up, which value of having good visuals with could be complex stands. And I'm going to hit all of those tonight. And again, the city now drafted objective design standards for all types, multifamily and residential mixed-use project in the downtown mixed-use district, otherwise known as DMU. Go over the background, the average view samples, and your feedback. Need to go right again. All right. Over this somewhat quickly, the whole idea of objective design standard is speed up review of how the project. And why is the city of Hollister doing this? Is because state law passed multiple legislation to speed up housing process. That's why there's this difficult housing element. So the city has to rezone for thousands new housing units, which is very difficult, which is lead that zone effort that here next to me. Part of this state law is that states decide that A, multifamily units are what we need right now, not single-family homes, and B, the discretionary review process whereby you talk about how a design looks with subjective terminology. Was it attractive enough? Does it complement neighboring house? That leads to a lot of discussion and a lot of debate. And the state has said, look, at this point on the city, you cannot deny a project using those subjective guidelines. You got to use standards, just if they've developed standard, an FAR, a height, a setback, etc. So again, these are quantitative design regulation that quota is from state law. These must involve no personal or subjective judgment by a public official. In other words, you can't overlay this complements neighboring house, whether it's quote attractive, it's just got numbers. And so there's some development standard. They have for ministerial checklist review by staff. They prove delays. One thing that a lot of leadership understandably worries about is that, oh, don't they end up the same? Everything's one height, one angle, and anything. No, they can be customized. They're based on past design policies. They're based on community input. We look closely at the T91 downtown plan, which has a great historical priorities the city cares about in terms of design. We looked at the historic districts. They try to make sure those are captured, taken care of, so you can't customize these standards. Here's some example of the difference of a subjective guideline and an objective standard. I won't them all. Rooftop mechanical equipment should be screened by the or under treat. No, rooftop equipment must be screened or should be screened. By the articulation to read apparent mass. What exactly apparent mass? No. At intervals of 100 feet, a building length shall be a plane break on the facade. You know, everything is numerical, everything is straightforward. Again, this city is doing this because it facilitates the streamlining that's allowed by state law. And this is what went overboard. The city does not need to do these standards. The problem is they don't. The city loses all control over new multifamily and mixed housing because it can't disapprove a multifamily housing project, including design view, unless project shown to be inconsistent with objective quantifiable standards. The straight Senate Bill 30, that's now California government code. So although this is a difficult process and it's somewhat new to so many planners, how can you turn design to another? It just has to be done or use all control. and it's hanging on this control. So again, these applicable projects, the multifamily and residential mixed use. Residential mixed use mean a project that has at least 75% residential square footage. There can be retail, or not subject to standard. Anything non-residential, that industrial project you did in your item would not be. The standards will apply to single-family homes, non-infill site, a project that goes out and is green space, for example. That one just has to get a traditional review process, or a housing project near a hazardous site, or that impact natural resources or wetlands, or destroys a registered historical landmark. Those type projects, even if they're multifamily, still require review. We were here earlier in the year and got some feedback from the commission. First of all, the commission very clear that we need to get community feedback on this. And should know about this and reach opportunity. We should make that accessible online, all type of residents, young people, new residents, full-time residents. A survey would be good to do. Walkability downtown is always going to be, and then new housing should deactivate base downtown. It should still be a great place where the city has parades and events. The commission's interested in controlling the design of roof, windows, facade, making sure that those things still stay attractive, making sure green space increases quality of life. And the big, of course, from the commission and from the public is we have to respect our historic resource and our historic aesthetic. So, taking that advice from the commission, we do a pretty significant project design standards education outreach process. All right. First thing we did was we got this trifold brochure, which has all the basics of the public where this is happening, what object design standards, what's the purpose of doing it, what conflict with local references, how they preserve down to care. This was also on a great page the city created. We could advertise all our inputs with those materials up. We had an online survey out in October to December of 2025. We got 72 responses from a range of residents. I hear some of the key responses to some of the main questions. What are your visual emphases that you want to prioritize down? And the main one was walkability, sidewalks. What are the pedestrian amenity you want to make sure are prioritized? The first one adequately, I think, is great, and necessarily suppressing the next street piece, all consistent with what we from the commission. What about the historic approach? What's best to make sure that history respect here? The main answer was not just copy everything. You don't have to make sure that every building is a carbon copy of a historic architecture. It should incorporate elements of an existing style. Make sure a roof has nice red tiles of a specially built building or some other element of architectural quality. And all the new buildings should respect the scale and form and bring historic structure. Fresh priorities we want to see when you get a build, roof design, and window design, select as high priorities. Landscaping, tree coverage again, came back public art. And open spaces, the community want to see bench and seating to make sure those spaces out front and within project are under recreation and to play for children. Sorry. I seem to be frozen. A second. There we go. All right, we all held a community design workshop. Oh, that went too far. Pardon. Jeez. Sorry. Seems gotten out of order, or else it's. I apologize for everybody. Okay, there we go. So we did hold a community design workshop. It was an in-person event. We called open house. City for 8 and helped us make 8,000 postcards, which you see on the screen, to residents. It was paying restaurant. Summer we had step table for different design talks, interact poster boards, design pretty exercise, comment card. These are examples of 4 by 5 foot poster boards with different topics. I know it's hard to see on the screen, but for each topic, such as orientation, site access, we had examples of objective design standards, and then asked in those spaces what's the level of importance to down Hollister, high, medium, low, and participants put stickers on each of those squares, put post-it comments relative to each topic of the board. Example, one of the boards, picture of us to the dot we're on. We got some interesting feedback as far as building design. There was a medium prioritization of massing and volume. In other words, it's about, not everyone, most people thought we should be sure that the way buildings scale, their massing to be controlled. They were focused on greenscape, landscape freeing, and words being lotchy surrounded by green spaces containing spaces. One comment, the streets don't upset. Let's not have deciduous tree in our downtown that with sap falling on cars. Everyone thought that we need to respond to historic context, these guidelines. These are just a quick overview. It was interesting, this is something that was different than other projects that I've done, which is that residents wanted to assess the design of residential ground floor as much as retail. Usually it's a focus on those ground floors. So again, our standards that you need to focus on residential ground floor design also. And just some comment, orientation, public frontages. The structure content. I know you've seen Word version of all those stickers in your packet. There's a lot of material there, I've seen that. My experience putting together was that doing this for town hall, it's a much complex space, usually the city documents, where there is such diversity of built environments, you really can't too specific, or else you end up document is just too long and too detailed. But in place downtown Hollister, there is a historic aesthetic. It was a challenge. We want to make sure that the standard, at least on to a certain degree, all these important topics. So in some ways, the structure of the document is similar to a lot of objective design standards because important topics are very in other ways they are more targeted on key topics. So chapter 1, we go to background of the policy into the legal issues. There's a quick intro down to Hollister and this district, the type of projects to which these apply, the regulation, zoning, the general plan, etc., the type of projects, and of course, more technical submission and review process. And the document is split into two main chapters. The first being multifamily and residential mixed use. These are for larger projects that are all called box projects, that could double a whole block. Next chapter, which we're into chapter 3, is for what are called house scale or small scale multifamily project. Those are the ones that you could make small duplex or triplex. And the fact of the matter is, you can understand you really can create same design standards for 4-story mixed building as a nice, cute duplex neighborhood. So we really want to separate standards and make sure that the two types of projects were treated differently. So chapter 2, we have different stages for projects that are downtown core, with that really key line on San Diego versus those that are outer downtown. And we have 7 intersections, site design, pedestrian experience, building form, history, care, architecture, open space, and landscaping. And chapter 3, like I said, these sort of capture what a small complex group of 3 side smaller townhomes look like. And these have a little more flexible standards. And the four intersections, site design and orientation, building design, history design, compatibility, and landscape lighting. And then the appendix to this will be a checklist. This really goes back to the idea of ministerial review. So what staff will be able to do when they get application for multifamily or mixed house project in the EMU zone is they're able to take this checklist of standards and actually go through the package, the way they look at it for zoning consistency, and just check, yep, you're compliant with standard 3, 2, 4, 5, 4, 6, go through the document. And what the appendix also allows is for the applicant to defer. So he can go through and make sure before they submit that the document, or the project consistent with EDS, and that will prevent that process, or at least reduce number of times back into the curse. And then that goes back to the reason why state law is now relying on these is because the state wants to reduce the delay process of discussion surrounding design. You want to keep it staff level. So this checklist is something we always include in ODS for staff to use. Right, the commission brought up earlier this idea that it would be great to have a visual to go with science issue. You've seen this boring Word document like that. We release these with staff to make sure we go through them all together for when the time to see the standard or the figures. So I'm going to give you some examples of this will actually look like if you're looking at standard. And I pulled some different versions because there are different type figures that go into a document like this. Here's an example of a site planning standard, pedestrian connection. So the idea here is if you have a street frontage that sees 400 feet along a single roadway, you need to provide a pedestrian connection to make sure you're not blocking pedestrian access street to street. That pedestrian path has goes to street. That's it there. It ought to be aligned with the existing bid that the C design. It'll have a minimum width of 8 feet, including landscape strips on the side. You take that text and with that you have a figure which is that clarifies these things. Show that middle down 50%, make sure it's centered. That footmark, those green strips outside, which I know are easy now to represent landscaping. So again, not re-standard in this document. Have a figure. The one that's complex like this, A, B, and C is always nice a figure. Here's an example of a total different type figure passed this way, really express what's going on. So we have standard of ensuring that public sidewalks, again, goes what we heard from the commission and the committee, need to be activated. So let's have frontage zone that near building, inter sidewalk area shall design activate public home with visual and visitation entities. The pedestrian clear pathway, it's the part of the street, or sidewalk that's for pedestrian movement, and the landscape zone shall be dedicated to street lighting, required accessibility infrastructure. So that figure that's with it, we're not in here because just to get all in the slide, is the table is with us, has those the allowable entities you're allowed to put in zone, of course, in the pedestrian clear pathway. But anything, the idea is to keep that safe movement. Again, this figure go with this standard. This
Question: zone would be like technically that's part of the building, just like an extent.
Right, and this would be specific for mixed-use build. So let you have that ground floor cafes or commercial business. That zone, you are allowed to place these amenities that keep us a friendly chairs, seating, decorative lights, things like that.
So something that's not necessarily going to inhibit like housing.
I think I should clarify again for everybody because this is confusing. It's for the public, for staff, for everybody. What's really important here is that this document is not a land use map. It's not saying where housing go. It's not dictating density housing. That is the general plan. And it is also not zoning code. This is not going to anything about setback. It's not saying anything about for area ratio. And we really all have to keep in mind that this is only stand for the design of residential entities that are already allowed in the DM district. And that, that's probably one of the more challenging aspects of that whole housing element process and plan process. That's people nurse to know that that's allowed in downtown, those of mixed use and multifamily housing. That's also the pressure the city of Hollister is from this law to provide level zoning for this level of housing. So I want to keep that in mind. This is a response, or not response, is just standards design. So issue where housing is the city of housing, what's the way, that's totally separate. That's in the general plan use map. Here's an example of one where we table, this was a direct response to the community's input, where how can we make sure that new project, they don't look really historic, but they should integrate nice features of historic. So what we did was looked at the downtown historic district paperwork and Monterey historic district paperwork, look at the key architectural style, and pull up some defining features. And I'm sorry, it's hard to see, but there's a little table in this in the document. And so the idea here is you have to select from each of these groups, roof, the window. It's just a small nod that style or to each style in the downtown. Hey, to add an overhang of 3 feet was exposed wood beams, so probably in special architecture. So what you'll see in the document is table and then associated photos. So here's an example of those vertical window stills of a 10:8. So again, the document you have packed, I know that's the big group of words, but in this very well-designed file document, you'll see this photo in these tables. It'll be much more clear. Another example of a historic approach to new development is make sure that if you're next to what's called a historic contributor, those are the buildings that are listed in down historic district or the Monterey Historic District. If you're building next to one of those buildings, you need to reduce the mass of your building next to that building. So in other words, there's not a huge ugly wall next to this cute 1845 home or whatever it be. So there are standards that explain how you need to do that. That orange area is what's called the transition zone. That zone, the numbering of these is in the table. That's the area that you have to contain your building to, and then the blue area, the B, C, and E, those are the standard. You have to reduce that part of the building, and it's basically have to keep it within 5 feet of the height of the existing building. You have to keep it within 10% of the width, within 10% of the length. So in other words, you can see the blue area is basically matching the scale of the historic district, or the historic building. And this is really, it's difficult to create a standard to complement historic design. So we feel these different ways. One, you incorporate actual element, and two, you reduce scale to respect it, or cover that approach. All right, those were all standard chapter 2, those larger, of course, multifamily, potential family buildings. That's why there's that scale standard there. These are chapter 3, smaller duplexes or more neighborhood style multifamily. These would not mixed use. So an example here is want to make sure that if you're walking a street, you can just see a huge ugly garage, which unfortunately a lot of mod home, it's that garage you first. These are standards making different garage shapes. Don't dominate the street frontage because right now, it's just driving around here. What's amazing about the side streets off of downtown is that they're not garage-oriented home. And so, but the fact that there is new development is going to likely have garage elements. So these are standard reducing input. They're in the front. Let's make sure that they don't take more than 60% of the total front. They need to be recessed back with overhangs like that. If off to the side, same thing. They need to go have a separate entry off the side and recess the facade. And then same thing, the rear detached garages. Roof line, like I said in my earlier slide, we heard a lot about value of roof to the viewer. These are examples of ways that you can maintain an interesting roof line. In these smaller units, make sure there's a chain height, not just one flat boring A. That include one or more doors, those projections that are figure, or just change in design. A projecting element that projects at least 3 above, and all of them are associated with a change in of at least feet, roof former, a change in form that projects at least 3 feet above the roof line. Again, you saw that in the pack, but I know really to see these figures go with, and of course that's for in using these objective design standards. Historic design, a little different. Smaller units are approach here. Small scale residential buildings adjacent to historic district contribute shall incorporate at least 2 of the following design strategies. Roof pitch within 10 degrees, the adjacent historic roof is a way of ensuring that if you've a nice, you can see where the specialized version is there. You don't put a more flat right next to it, or a frame really is totally out of line with that roof. You have to keep that angle within 10 degrees. Historic articulation, this is hard to see on this figure with the dashed line. Go in the base of the new windows across to the existing ones. The idea is if you keep things parallel, you create more cohesive from the street. And so this prevents the idea of a totally different window variety, a different height versus the historic one, just to respecting that design. Or the one is use at least one material, use the facade, the adjacent historic structure. So you don't have to have roof pitch, you don't have to have that parallel, but if that's the case, you've got to have them still as that historic line, or you have to use the same wood clapboardings, the Italianate next to you. So again, it's providing some flexibility for developers to respond to those long-time priorities here in Hollister. I know that was a lot. As Ann mentioned, I'm here just to make sure these points, if any question about them, first of all, background. Second, the application process, any questions about this review process, the topic itself, or just the approach. I'll leave that up to you. Your question, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions from the
Category, are they the same points or some categories more points if they meet?
They're all the same.
Is that intentional or?
That's also the case. I mean, I think the idea is not prioritized. It's just it's not in, and that's the same for city. That's why cities are an ODS if they're good. This that really is not important to them. It's not a stance. And one of the different things about this is some cities have taken the approach. Wait, the more we do this, the more we're taking it away from design professional architect who actually know how to do this. And the more we do it, the more emphasis it is on staff, the more detailed the standards actually go through. Whereas other cities are thinking, well, let's keep detail because that maintains our control. So what ODS really is a balancing act of trying to be sure the most important things to you are in this, but not going entirely overboard because then the entire process gets so convoluted and you lose that idea of streamlining because it's detailed.
And you implement this checklist under regions, right?
Yeah, I literally finished in last year. ODS sees this different as Antioch and Cupertino and Sunnyvale, and they were like this list. Not all ODS have. Some consultants say it's incumbent on staff to decide how they want to do this, which is off as a frame for how you might do it.
Another question on the material. That's not something that could be dictated, right? Like,
material can be dictated.
Okay.
There are certs that say more common is prohibited material. Example that comes ahead right now, we've been asked for, I forget what city, to make sure that resident homes in their fence did not allow any chain link fence, any of those plastic corrugated fence that goes in. Some cities have prohibited like polyurethane siding.
Okay. Yeah, that's the only thing that. Trying to think of an example. I apologize.
Hey, no, this is
For me personally, I would prohibit is that like look cheap. I guess what I'm saying is, you know,
Yeah.
what McDonald's like that, like marble, like fake marble. Basically, I don't know how you're the expert. You know,
well, did
articulate.
you compared to see there was material, but what we didn't include, there is a standard that prohibits court architecture, and we list out things like faux facades. You can't go in there at Chuck E. Cheese and on a bunch of fake brick or whatever.
That awesome, perfect.
That, and there it's,
looking at
it's totally spelled out. No corporate architecture, no branded faux frontage. I think how I put it. No.
That's perfect. Sorry.
I know there's a lot of material.
Do we think on fencing? Sodium?
Well,
We don't.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I'd like to see that, I guess, eliminate chain link fencing.
Absolutely.
I think the wrought iron fencing look, I think that's it's appealing.
I totally agree. And actually, in table of distinctive architectural feature, one of them is you bring in that wrought iron detail, the way those special buildings have the river in front or there. I totally agree with you, but that's something we can express for in a little. Maybe we call wall. I think called it walls and fences subsection with two standards. Really pivot that chain link and list out 5 or 6. Where standards are. It's hard to see what is allowed because you might not list everything. You might forget that brick might be too. We didn't that So it's better to say not, and then that. Just make sure.
Yeah, I know that the wrought iron it maintains longer. Fencing over time it just deteriorates, and so I don't know how many different types.
Well, I think we could add a standard that prohibits the use of metallic or gross corrosion susceptible fencing such as raw iron, traditional metal link, and that's pretty solid spread of what you're looking for. I mean, I think important foods would be corrosive or something like that. But I can certainly look at.
Thank you.
I was going to look this up too, but I'm spreader. So current NC ordinance, which again, this is an ordinance from a prohibited materials perspective. We currently prohibit sheet or corrugated iron, steel, aluminum, bamboo, or asbestos fencing. So if that's like a good list, or if we're missing, or any of those are fine, we could. Greg is saying we can add prohibited materials.
You guys copy and paste that in
You
whatever
think-
will commission.
Yeah.
I think the asbestos one's fed on state already.
Yeah.
That's
And then
also
it don't
an-
have to link, but we
that's
can
an
add change.
important part of these is for the sake of applicants who are looking at so many different rules and regs. I feel it's better not read things in places because they get a greater chance for inconsistency. You know what I mean? And so I've really an attempt to not cross over into zoning. And Commissioner Long, that doesn't, I don't respect your input at all. We put it in, but I think it's important to make sure that the standards really are separate from zoning for this to the applicant, so they know that when they somewhere, they're going to find, wait, one did say something, and this one did. So certainly if we add zoning, we make sure it's 2E.
You mean should any fencing visible from the public space, or is that a thing that needs to be added? Or?
Yeah, that would be important.
I'd say street thing, yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's a recommendation. And also, is there anything that prohibits in the public spaces, like a business to crowd this our area by putting up fencing? Can that be addressed? The intent is to open, like two side business,
Yeah.
Like in the right of way or
spaces between business or stuff like that.
I don't know that we have anything in that level of detail of what they could or not propose to divide.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in objective standards. I think is more.
So I think it would be allowed but not required right now. So allow or they could propose. So.
Just if I may clarify, are you're suggesting is like the quasi public private spaces? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, and that's that frontage zone would look like, and the difference between that frontage and the sidewalk would be the area, if there's a fresco, if a mixed building has, a seared pillar and you can walk through that front, along retail buildings. That would be entirely within, I think, the property line of that structure, though.
Yeah, are you thinking, like the 400 block, how to have the arcades that's on property are divided?
Yeah.
Are you, or just to allow it if they want to propose it? Like,
I think that question is like,
yeah.
do we want that into duration of our maintenance? Like, if it's handed at public space regardless of who's operating, when that's, really in relation to that space, do you want the applicants the opportunity to out their own place, kind of the park lots, or very specific to each business?
Yeah.
Imagine that part that was right in front of the business. It was the open near the walkway. You want from one business that has some fencing on it just to select space, and when you walk over to the next one, their fence has. I think that's my example. Two-sided business with quite a space front, kind of like I forget what business it was, but next Johnny's. There's that little video. So do you want to have that assumption to be able to fence it off, requires it to the business or something?
What are your thoughts? You've done these the Bay Area. I'm always something the more flexibility, the better. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, I am of the mind that it might be better not bring that up in this document. I think it might be an unnecessary sort of barrier to what you can do down there. No, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking it seems to me like a lot of that decision would happen on private property side, like past the property line, so out of the right of way. I think it would be worth, and we double check in the things that are allowed in that frontage zone, per area and Riggs side, whether we want to prohibit, or I would say lean to more prohibit, if we don't want to have division vertical like fence barrier in that public 12-foot sidewalk adjacent that we're prohibiting of barricade in that way. But on private property, I don't think I would suggest putting one way or the other. I think I'd leave it up so that if a development like a 400 block with a K kind of that back through, it could or could not do it, and it'd be restricted. If that makes sense.
The reason I'm slide up because I'm thinking in terms of that one building next to another, and for all you, no matter what, you'll have a side back that both parties have to adhere to. And when I say that, I would lean towards not relating that, because this is an example of, in the same way you prohibit a type fence rather than say what's allowed, this is a case where you prohibit something in a special case. In other words, the sort of getting at, can one building do what's next to another? And I, again, of the mind where you really focus in on special conditions such as store adjacents. And if we were to open that, I don't call it a can of worm up, but we were to really even include something like that in the document, I think it would lead to less clarity in some.
Yeah.
But I'm absolutely open to sort of sketch out, and sort of how you could do it.
I kind of agree. I live in San Francisco from time, so I bear that you dealt for it in San Francisco, San Jose. Yeah. Here it seems to not really be. I mean, that's me. I do see what you're saying.
Yeah, I do. Well, was my presentation to help you understand this? Hope, and I hope that we really listen to the last committee meeting and get the community involved.
Being a year from the last meeting, last time we see you, do you still retaliate this down?
Yeah, I look deeply at those old historic district documents, and they were written hypers. I was hoping it was going to be more type of architect to find it, but this group of historic architecture, that's why I sort of thought maybe they do this to just pull different elements. I just didn't see another way to do it. And also, the public and city know that we are thinking about that. But again, just walking today, I do see this, the arched colonnade Spanish style, you do see Italian, you see the Gothic turrets, it's hard to really pinpoint a certain style. So I think we did just say, look, at least something of these 3 or 4 types that make this special.
And was one of the things we got that was interesting back from public, particularly in the survey, was the option was, they need to duplicate. So duplicate a style of historic, let's say, and if that was not feedback we got of the highest priority, what we got was that they should incorporate that element, like an element of one historic style, but not necessarily duplicated, which is a great kind of description in the table we're proposing. But if had been the background from the public where it was more, you need to be in the style of one of the historic things, we probably would have been bringing forward a standard that more this Victorian, and it needs to have 3 of these 6 things be Victorian, and half pick Victorian, or you have to pick Mission, or have to pick Italian or Gothic. Instead, it's more, here's 6 roof features, some of them are Italian, some of them are Mission, and pick one. And then the window you could pick Italian and then Victorian for there, because it's pick one, because the community did feel strongly about focusing new development onto replicating historic design. Yeah. That was interesting back that week.
I think it did, because the other reality was if we wrote a standard telling every developer that they took their 3-story mixed-use building Victorian, a lot of developers would turn to that's a difficult thing to do, and it goes back to this huge picture of the pressure of the city to get housing. And so again, 10,000-foot view, the idea of is to streamline housing, make it difficult, and that's a hard thing in our city, but that's part of the balance. So.
Yeah, last year described Santa Barbara downtown, I think might have been a different one. They have a specific mode. It's because that they have, and downtown doesn't have any style. Yeah. So
I've seen Santa Barbara maybe one who took that approach, and frankly, it's because they afford first of all, because that is a tourist destination. Our economy has come from the visitation to that style. So it's a little bit check and balance for them. And the other states just don't have that cohesive element. It doesn't make sense to say everything has to do that way.
Yeah. And that's my point. I don't think it's the church new development that you might be a little cost prohibitive from trying to serve the community.
And do I have for public comment?
Yeah, if there are no more questions right now.
Open a public comment.
We do not have any big speakers.
Okay. I'm going to close public comment.
So we've heard some feedback about being, particularly in prohibition fencing type, making sure to have that clear street facing visible fencing. And I think we can do that sidewalk zone. Do we want to get into the dog zone, or just kind of leave the division and barriers and types of things as draft, which is alone proposed you would.
Yeah, I don't think there's competition like I mentioned in our for outspace or
Okay.
basis. I think we're good.
Did I miss anything? Is there any other things you want to make sure we did or look at? No?
There was a question about the material he covered.
Oh, yes, we have materials or it's and yeah, like the grid architecture thing is also a civic thing or relation. Well, I think, thank you. That's the kind of feedback we want to hear. And so our next step, as we've been, is to get all these issues in and get you a staged document. The goal is to have back. Next meeting will be fun. Mark calendar, 26. Make sure you come. It's going to be a good meeting, long one, but a good. That's our goal, bring that back.
Thank you, Sean.
I suppose, looks like point one commission report. Do you have any reports that I'm going to be on the break? I you with these, or do you have any? Or?
I don't have a report.
Okay. There's no reports to the commission. Would they have to offer public comment?
No.
Okay. 2 plan division. Do we have plan division reports?
The only thing that I'd like to report, we've been a little bit to meet, but the 12th, there is a joint session of the Council and Planning Commission is going to be 12 at 6 p.m. That's all. More details are to come exactly for them. I don't know those details. And then the 26th, the next regulating of the plan commission here in Chambers at 6 at our regular time is going to be a meeting, general plan, house element, budget zone to go along with documents, the objective design standards, the procedures, a lot of policy that's making its way through, and that's going to be a big public hearing for consideration and recommendation council at March.
When you gave that direction, were you including the notice for that March 12th meeting as well? Okay, I just want to clarify. We wanted for the joint plan commission / city council meeting. I don't know if meeting or.
Yes, it's an open public that also and welcome.
We would like a notice for any applicants currently, and so you. I think we're in one, but we just and that's it.
Believe they're my only right.
Awesome. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Can I have a roll? I'm kidding. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Record stop.